it's hard to deny the fact that Pixar movies are amazing. When it comes to great storytelling, memorable characters, and high-quality family entertainment, nobody does it better than Pixar. This CGI dream factory has been creating awesome animations for nearly 30 years now. Not only that, but it seems like they have a little fun foreshadowing future films within the films we watch. Hello and welcome to Filmopedia. In this video, we'll examine every Pixar Easter egg that hints at the upcoming movie. So take a deep breath, because we're going to go back a long way.
I wish I could show it to you.
Just promise you tell me everything you see!
Number 1. Turning Red. Now let's take a look at the most recent Pixar animation, Turning Red. Turning Red is Pixar's first Asian-led animated movie, and it's also Disney's first animation which is solely directed by a female filmmaker. Turning Red, like other Pixar films, contains numerous Easter eggs such as Finding Nemo, the tropical bird from Up, and Bao, which was also directed by Dami Shi in 2018. But the finest of them all, though, is an Easter egg about the upcoming Lightyear, which will be released later this summer. In the beginning of the movie, while May and her friends are walking home from school, if you look close enough at the skateboard, you may spot stickers of socks, Buzz Lightyear's RoboCat, and the Star Command that appears on the Space Ranger suit.
Another one. Another one.
Another one!
Number 2. Luca. Now let's travel back in time to 2021 when Pixar released Luca. Just in this scene, we can see an Easter egg so tiny and small that it's incredible that anyone would ever discover it. A record album labeled For Village can be seen, which is so similar to the boy band called Four Town and Turning Red. And you can see that both of them have identical stars for the design.
What's that?
Oh, it's just the greatest thing that humans ever made. The Vespa.
Whoa.
Number 3. Soul. Now shifting from Italy to New York, Pixar's Soul was a big hit in 2020. Such as in the scene where Joe's body is wandering in the streets of New York, we can see a banner saying Visit Porto Rosso, which is of course the same Italian town where Luca takes place. Good job, Pixar.
Welcome you. Benvenuti a Porto Rosso. Ciccio?
Number 4. Onward. Now it's time to rewind to the start of 2020. Pixar releases Onward, which receives fair reviews from the critics, but it is considered Pixar's second flop after The Good Dinosaur because of the closure of the theaters. Good or bad, it's a Pixar animation, and it has a cute little nod to Soul. After Colt Bronco sits on the chair, you can see a record on the shelf by musician Dorothea Williams. Dorothea Williams, of course, is Joe's jazz idol in Soul, an Easter egg that will not have been discovered for nearly 6 months.
Joe Gardner, where have you been?
I've been, teaching.
Number 5. Toy Story 4. It's the year 2019 and no one has ever heard of COVID. People are living peacefully, and the only question that we have is whether Toy Story 4 is an acceptable successor to Toy Story franchise. Towards the end of the film, when the toys run across the carnival, you'll notice a bouncy castle with a particular design on it. The same design that would eventually appear on Barley's trusty van in Onward.
To infinity and beyond.
Number 6. The Incredibles 2. Up until now, we saw Turning Red, Luca, Soul, and Onward. But was Toy Story 4 teased in Incredibles 2? If you check Jack Jack's crib among his toys, you'll notice the iconic figure of Duke Kaboom, the legendary Canadian motorcycle stunt toy, memorably voiced by Keanu Reeves in Toy Story 4. So Toy Story was teased in The Incredibles.
Look who jumped 40 school buses and landed back into my life.
Number 7. Coco. In 2017, Coco followed 2 sacred Pixar traditions. First, showing us the power of great storytelling that Pixar has. And second, including a funny Easter egg hinting to its next project. As we journey through the land of the dead, if you keep your eyes peeled, you'll notice a poster on the wall with some familiar characters. And yes, they're the Incredibles.
No, that way. Why would they change math? Math is math. Math is math.
I'll just wait for Mom to get back.
What?
Number 8. Cars 3. There was more behind Cars 3 than you might have realized at the time, including not one but two cryptic references to the upcoming Coco. In one of the scenes, the TV is showing somewhere extremely like Santa Cecilia, the place where Coco happened.
Santa Cecilia, mi pueblo.
Later, on the wall behind the band, you can see a familiar white guitar which is just like the guitar that belongs to Hector Rivera in Pixar's Mexican masterpiece. Number 9. Finding Dory. Now, Finding Dory may not be your favorite Pixar sequel, but it does contain one of the most subtle references in the studio's entire career. Near the film's finale, Hank the Octopus flies into the glass of an incoming truck heading to Cleveland. And if you look really close, you can see that the truck driver's hand has a Lightning McQueen band-aid on it. Now that's what we call subtle.
Cruz, get out of there! You don't belong on this track!
Yes, I do! I don't believe it! It's Cruz Ramirez for the win!
Number 10. The Good Dinosaur. Now here we are in 2015 when Pixar's biggest flop was released. But did you know that Pixar hinted at Hank the Octopus in The Good Dinosaur? While Arlo is trying to swim, take a good look at the bottom. Although he's disguised and the water is dark, but that's certainly Hank. Number 11. Inside Out. Now, Inside Out was an epic animation which was beautifully directed by Pete Docter. The movie which had a creative plot and it was so well made that you would never get bored of it. In one scene, while the emotions are looking through Riley's memories, they see her and her family taking a trip to San Francisco, where they stop to snap some family pictures with a couple of familiar dinosaur statues. If you guessed that those statues were Arlo and Forrest Woodbush, you'd be absolutely correct. Number 12. Monsters University. Now it's time for Monsters University, a prequel to Monsters Inc. and a tremendously successful Pixar cartoon with an exciting universe full of colors and wonderful monsters. And as always, the animation was fantastic. Now, Monsters University did have Easter eggs about the Good Dinosaur, which will be released 2 years later after Monsters University. But it didn't have an Easter egg about Inside Out because the release dates were changed. In the final round of the Scare Games, in the fake bedroom, you can see some dinosaur toys on the floor. And that's right, it's Arlo and his friends. Number 13. Brave. Now moving on to the 10th century and Pixar's 13th animated feature about a girl who loves archery. When we go to the witch's hut, which has so many Easter eggs such as the pizza truck, we can see a wood sculpture of Sully from Monsters Inc. which is clearly visible. What does that witch know that she's telling us? And things get even stranger when we return to Cars 2. But before that, it's survey time. For today's question, who is a better archer? A. Disney's Robin Hood, and B. Pixar's Merida. Number 14. Cars 2. Speaking about Cars 2, during the movie we visit a place called Ye Turn Left in the streets of London. And if you look really hard, you may notice a tapestry showing bizarre car versions of Merida and her family, similar to the one in Brave that will be released 1 year after Cars 2. Sounds cool, right?
Well, actually, I've got something to show you first.
Number 15. Toy Story 3. We all remember our first viewing of Toy Story 3 and the roller coaster of emotions it brought us. But do you remember the two references to Cars 2? They're not high stakes, but they're fun. First, you can see a poster of Finn McMissile on the wall of Andy's room, and the second one, which is more difficult, is that you can see a Lightning McQueen toy lying on the floor at Sunnyside Daycare. But as soon as you see it, it's hard not to see it from then on. Number 16. Up. Speaking of Toy Story 3, we can see an Easter egg in Pixar's previous masterpiece, Up. When Carl's house takes off lifted by those iconic balloons, he passes a little girl's window, and clearly visible on the floor by her bed, we can see a Lotso hugging bear, which was the antagonist of Toy Story 3.
Sunny side, folks.
Number 17. WALL-E. Up until now, we have talked about Pixar's Easter eggs from 2010 to 2022, which shows the persistency of their work. Speaking of being persistent, we have to give credit to WALL-E for being able to survive in a garbage town for so long. But one man's trash is another man's treasure, as they say. It's fun how Pixar created a memorable cartoon with 2 robots and a cockroach. But did you notice Carl's walking stick in the corner as WALL-E watches Hello Dolly? Number 18. Ratatouille. Speaking of cockroaches, did you know that the cockroach in WALL-E can be seen hanging out on the wall in Linguini's apartment in Ratatouille?
So this is it. I mean, it's not much, but it's not much.
Number 19. The Incredibles. Now, we're not sure why Cars didn't add an Easter egg to Ratatouille. Instead, we need to jump back to The Incredibles to continue the adventure. The Easter egg happens at the end of the movie. At the climax scene, we can see a version of Doc Hudson parked among a bunch of other cars, and to make it even more harder, they made it more realistic. Number 20. Finding Nemo. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the year 2003, and the fun part is that some of you were not even born yet, which is crazy for me. But those who were born probably remember Finding Nemo as a huge hit, which gave 2 references to the upcoming Pixar animations. One of them happens in the dentist's office. As one of the boys is reading a comic book, we can see no one other than Mr. Incredible on the cover. And the second Easter egg, which is really fun, is if you look really close, you can see Luigi from Cars driving outside the dentist's office. Number 21. Monsters Inc. The journey continues and Pixar releases one of the best and most known animations, Monsters Inc., which hinted 3 Easter eggs to Finding Nemo. The first one appears in Boo's room as Boo gives Sully a clownfish. The second one appears in Harryhausen's restaurant, and the third one is hanging up in the trailer where Randall is banished. And finally, number 22. The last animation in the list is no other than Toy Story 2, where the tradition of sneaking Easter eggs began. When Jerry the toy fixer comes to repair Woody, as he opens a drawer, we can see a lot of toy eyeballs. Believe it or not, those eyeballs are a reference to one of the Monsters Inc. characters, Polly, the many-eyed monster. All these Easter eggs show us how far Pixar has come. Do you agree with this list? Have you found any more Easter eggs that we haven't talked about yet? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, have fun. Filmopedia signing off.